Okay, we're back on this Okie Joe again. It's going to take a couple videos to finish this out. So the one that we're going to do today is we're going to make a Lariat for him, and we're going to make his Spurs. And that will set it all up to where we can finish him off in the next video following. Okay? So anyway, a Cowboy's Lariat is 30 to 35 feet long. So we're going to hit that pretty close, but we're going to be just a little bit short, so we can make sure we get everything in one of his hands. I'm afraid if we did the full length, it would probably be too much to go through his hands the way we have it. But we want it to still look as good as possible, as realistic as possible for this figure. Okay? So if I take his hat off, he's about 13 inches tall. So, what we're going to make we're going to make it, say he's 12. So, we got 12, and 12 is 24, it comes to 48, right? But he's only 8 feet tall, so we're going to back off that a little bit and make it 4 feet. Alrighty? So, I've already got a piece cut here. This one is 4 feet, plus an inch or two. Yep, watch out. Now this wire, you can buy this down to Lowe's or Home Depot. It's galvanized wire that's already twisted. It's got a twist to it, and there's 6 wires in here. And what we're going to do is we're going to separate them. And we're going to peel off 3 of them. Let me get that off of there. Just like that. And we do that just by taking them and just twisting them to where it separates them. You don't want to bend these now. And the reason I use this wire instead of using a spool of just single strand galvanized wire is with the factory twist on here, when we spin the thing with our drill, it comes out perfect. To where if you ran the wire back and forth, 3 times to get your 3 times with this blister pack wire, this wire here. If you run this back 1, 2, 3 to get your 3 times and try to twist it, you're going to end up getting a little bump every once in a while, because you can't do it as perfect as the machine did this here. So just remember that. Save yourself some trouble, because you definitely don't want little little bumps along your lasso when you go putting it through his hand. Okay? So I'll put that back. So anyway, we got that. So the next step is to take our wire, and with the drill here, and go over to the vise over there, excuse me, and get ready to twist it, all right? And we'll do that here in just a second. So that's what I do now. Okay, you get your drill, and we head on over here to the vise. And we just clamp one end in here, good and tight so it don't come out. And we take this other end and we chuck it in our drill. Now, you can see the wire is spun one way already. So, what we're going to have to do is run this in reverse. So don't touch this up here while you're doing it, or everything's going to fall out. Just pull it as tight as you can, but not real tight, because you just want that wire to twist. Well, actually it's going to go this way. So it's going to draw all this together. You'll feel it after you start. You'll feel your drill just going forward. Just let it go. Judy can focus in on the wire and watch it. And what you want to do, you want to watch your wire to where it's going to get to the point that it looks like rope, okay? So here we go. It's going to take a while. Just disregard what I said earlier, we were going the wrong way. Now we're going the right way. Hey, I'm 80 years old, I forget a lot. Okay, see, it's starting to look good, but it's still not tight enough. But you notice, if she stands here and shoots down this wire, here, stand right here and shoot right down this wire. You can see there's no little bumps on it, like I told you about the other way of doing it. So we just keep doing this until it looks really good like rope. Getting there. That looks good right there. So now I can loosen this up. Come over here and take it out of the valves. And we've got our lariat. Now let's go back over to the desk and we'll make the next step. Okay, I'm going to cut off this end that was in the vise. And I'm going to cut off this end that was in the drill. Like that. Got Judy going all over the place here. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bend a lariat loop here on the end of this. You just want it big enough for your wire to go through there. Right there where it comes together. I'm going to bend it this way. I need to get me another set of pliers here. Bend it that way, and then bend this one back that way. And then we bend it around like this, and kind of squeeze that together. Now this little part right here, this loop, this is the only piece, only part of this lariat that's not scale, not realistic, but that's the only thing we can do. So, then I get me some thread here. And I'll wrap it around there. You wrap it enough to where it covers up the rope and the end of the rope, because you want it looking good. Okay, and that looks pretty good right there. So snap that off. Get me some super glue here. Just going to soak that. Try to keep my fingers out of it. Like that. I'm going to get my accelerator here. Spray a little bit on there until it sets up like that. That accelerator works pretty good. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get a match and just burn these things off rather than try to cut them off and end up messing up my knife or something by accidentally hitting that loop. Okay? Alright, so now it's finished. Now the next step, it's kind of messy, but I'm going to show you what to do. Don't throw this away. Hang on to this. This is going to help you with the next cowboy you make, okay? So, let me find something here. Excuse me for running around. There's methods to this madness. This is gun blowing. You can buy this down at Walmart. That's where I buy mine all the time. I forget how much it costs. It's not that much. It lasts a long time. I just pour it out in that dish. And you take the wire. If she can focus down in here, you can see that wire. As soon as you put it in there, see it turn black like that? That's what you want. And once you get this around, you just run it through there like that. Being careful not to spill any of the chemical. Kind of messy, but believe me, it gives you a good result, as you'll find out later on. See, it's kind of messy, but it works. Don't try to make your lariat out of rope. Out of a piece of nylon or a piece of cotton string or whatever. It's not going to work. Cotton string will fuzz up and break. It becomes very, very fragile. Okay, we got that. Now, we're just going to hang this up somewhere. We can actually take a rag and wipe off most of it. And just go hang this up somewhere, because there's a couple more things we have to do to it to make it look good. Okay? So I'm just going to lay this here and move on to making spurs, which we're going to start here in a second. Okay, trying to catch my breath here after jumping around the shop so much. Imagine Judy's kind of out of breath too, trying to follow me. But anyway, now we're over here at the Spur manufacturing area of the shop. I've got the back end of my Cowboy done here. You can see the spurs here, or not the spurs, but the leather part of the spurs here. Let me just get a set of spurs and I'll show you. Here's a set of Cowboy spurs right here, okay? Got the rowel back here. Got a little ring where the jingle bob would hang. So when the cowboy walks, the little jingle bob bounces up and down against the rowel here. It gives him a little music as he's walking around. Everybody will notice him more. These are kind of fancy. They've added some silver here on the side. This is the left boot, so the decoration's on the outside, not on the inside. And then you got the leather up front. So we're just making this part here because I've already carved the leather part on the boot. Okay? So, mine aren't going to be as fancy as this, but they're going to be enough to where they look realistic, okay? So to do this, you're going to need a piece of galvanized ducting. You can find this down to Lowe's or Home Depot. It doesn't cost that much. You're going to need a pair of tin snips. You're going to need an awl. You need a couple of clamps. You're going to need a soldering iron. And you're going to need some lock washers. Now I keep lock washers all different sizes because depending on my Cowboy, you know, if one's bigger or one's smaller, I've got lots of lock washers to fit. And the lock washer is what's going to become the rowel. Okay? So the first thing we need to do is we need to make a strip wide enough to cover that little hole. So it looks to me like that, about right there, will do it. So I'm going to make me a mark like that. I'm going to get my tin snips like that, and I'm going to cut them off. Cut off a strip here as best I can. Okay, just bend them out straight there, straight as you can. And I'm going to need another one. The same size. See, you follow my methods, boy, you learn all sorts of things to do. Everybody thinks, oh, I'm just going to sit down and carve me a cowboy. Well, that's only part of it, as far as I'm concerned. All the fun comes later on when you're doing all this stuff. This is where my 7th grade metal shop experience comes in. Pity the person, the kids these days who don't get any of that valuable experience. Okay, so now we got 2 stripes. I'm going to take my 2 little lock washers, and that's about scale, you know, right there, for as you'll see here in a minute. But I'm going to take these over to my little anvil. Over here. Set those aside. I'm going to take these. I want these good and straight. I can't remember the name of my metal shop teacher, but he would be proud of me right now, because he probably showed me how to do this. Alright, I got those. Now, for my lock washers, just lay them on your anvil if you have one. This piece of railroad tie, perfect for a shop. And just start whacking these things. What we're doing is we're just flattening them out. And as we flatten them, we want to make sure we get them to where they're all equally flat, just like that. See the difference? So there, we're going to do this one now. keep looking at them till you, there's always one who doesn't want to come down, but you'll figure it out. There, that looks good. That's good and flat. Okay, okie dokie. Now we go back over to the other area again. Let's put that aside. I got my soldering iron turned on, heated up. So, allow yourself a lot of slop when you're doing this. So I'm going to cut me a piece there. And I'm going to cut me a piece here. There's one spur. And there's the other one. Okay. Now there's one more little step I'm going to do. I'm going to take these over to the little belt sander and I'm going to round the ends of them. As you'll see, I'm not going to show you that. I'll just go do it and come back and show you. Okay. Alrighty, I got my flux here for my solder. Got my solder here. This is just 6040 rosin core solder. I got my flattened spurs here. And turn that over. Put the best side out. Okay? Like that. Line them up evenly. Like that. Take your little, one thing. You'll notice that when you put them together, you'll notice that they don't line up perfectly. See, these are kind of apart there. There's a little space. So you want to try to get them as perfect as you can. Like that. Take your little lug washer, so you can pick it up there. Just slide it in here like that. Get it centered. Here, that's what it looks like. See it? Poor Judy. Get you a pair of clamps. Just clamp that together like that. And I just stick it in the flux. And then reposition it. Like that. And then we'll do the other one. Put it, line them up. Get in there. Put them together. Stick it in the flux. Like that. Just want to cover up that hole. So where that little rowel now is equal on each side. Okay? And then you clamp it together. Like that. Get something to set that on. So. These are my little belt endings, okay? But that'll let that hold up like that where I can see. Alrighty. Get your soldering iron. Get you a little on the end there. You're going to take much. You just kind of have to work it around there to where it lines up. Kind of smooth out that. Hopefully we got a good connection. Let's just make doubly sure. Doesn't look as good on this side, does it? Okay, come on, we want to move that little rowel around to where it goes to where it's supposed to. Come on. That's just about it right there, I think. Let that go off. There we go. Looks good. Set that aside. Yeah, that's what I should have did the other way. Okay, so you can put this stuff away. Now, back up, Judy. Get me a little file up here, or a little emery board, just an emery board. Got this one down at the woodcraft shop. You can just take this and sand off any rough edges. Like that. Just like that. Unplug this iron so I don't burn myself. Set this out of the way. Get over there. Okay, got that part. Now, as you can see, there's a little area between where the rowel is and where the part around the boot goes. Well, I've got a pair of pliers here somewhere. Where'd you go? Oh, there. So we'll come here and we'll come out just a little bit from where the thing is, and we're just going to bend these out like that. So you see, you got a little area in there now. It's not as long as that one, but that's okay, you know. And then you just take your finger and you bend these around like that. And again, you can see that I've left myself a lot of slop here. So let me go ahead and do the other one here. Just bend about straight to where they come straight out, and grab that, and then just gently bend them around. Where they look like a spur. Look at that. Looks pretty good, huh? Not bad. Okay, now you got the figure here. Clean off some room here. his head off. Now what we're going to do is we're going to burn a slot to put that spur in. And I'm going to use my pyrotechnic pin here. Get the cord untangled. Don't burn the outside of this. You just want to burn a little slot there. Make it kind of go kind of deep, and then do that on the other side. Just push the thing in there. Make sure you get a, ooh, excuse me, get it wide enough. Hopefully that'll be it. And then you take your spur. Just to make that a little wider. Takes a little adjustment, but you'll get it right. And after you slide it in there, you'll see that you're going to have to cut a little off. Till you get the right fit. Just take a little off at a time, so you don't make a mess of it. Almost there. Better to take a little bit than a lot. Get that one in there and that one in there. Get in there. We're oh so close. Judy's got to take a break, so we'll stop for just a second. Okay, while Judy was taking a break, I went ahead and I bent my spurs to fit those slots. Put them in there. And look at them. They look slick, don't you think? I think they look really good. Only thing now is getting in my little kit container here. This is where I keep all my detail goodies. I have some decorative tacks over here, like that. That's the size I'm going to use. I've got all different sizes here, different shapes and things. I get this area here, up at a place in South Dakota in Rapid City called Prairie's Edge. And it's an Indian store that sells beautiful things. I think just about every video I've made, I've mentioned this when I'm doing Indians. If you ever get the chance, go up there and go through that store. It is fantastic. But upstairs they have all this stuff here, plus tons of other stuff that the Native Americans use to decorate their costumes. So I just buy these things. They're perfect for doing stuff like this. So with that spur in its place, you just I snipped off the end of these little tacks, and I just stick that in there. Don't you think that looks slick once I get this thing done and painted? There's one here that goes over on this side. Just like that. Slick. Slick. Looks good. Okay, so now I'm going to take these out. I'm going to clip them in my clothespins here, like that. And with my belt ends here, like that, I'm going to take it over to the workbench. And with this, you can find this down at Walmart. This is self-etching primer. This stuff works really good. It hangs on to the metal you're spraying. Evidently, somehow it etches and creates a little better tooth on the metal to where it'll hang on there. Okay. So I'm just going to spray these like that. Like that. Like that. Like that. And let that dry, and they'll be ready to paint. And here's a tip. How many of you have bought cans of spray paint, and you get down, you use about, that much, and then your tip clogs up? Well, here's what I do. After I finish spraying, I pull that thing off, like that. And I come around here, and that blows that little hole out to where when you come back the next time, it's going to be free and not clogged up. And you're not going to end up throwing away 3/4 of a can of spray paint. Let me just put it back on there. They say, oh, well, to clean that, just turn it upside down and spray. Well, that don't work, because you'll sit there and spray and spray and spray and spray. If Judy's got a cold. But anyway, you just can't get them clean. But doing it that way, they get clean. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. And we've got our Lariat, we've got our Spurs, we got our belt ends. I still have a little bit of painting to do on the figure. I have to do his gloves, and I have to paint the belt buckles, and well, I've got to paint the ties on the sides of each chaps. But we're going to do that in the next video. We're going to wind this whole thing up finally. So Judy's glad to say goodbye to this video, because she wants to go sit down in her recliner, just like I think I'm going to, because it's lunchtime. So until the next one, I'll talk to you later.